Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope you've all had a really, really great week here. For those of you who tune in every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back. And for those of you who this is your first time here on Mental Health Moment, welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Be sure to let me know in the comments here where you are tuning in from today. And thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who are watching the replay on YouTube, on Dr. Nekeshiahm Hammond YouTube, welcome back. Be sure to subscribe every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. And thanks again for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who've been tuning in all month long, we have been talking this month about ways to releasing your stress, releasing your tension, right? So we're going to continue this series here. It's the last Tuesday of the month, which is crazy. Happy you're here as well. Someone said, I'm happy to be here. Happy you're here. But it's the last Tuesday of the month, you all. I feel like once again, the beginning of the year, it's just starting to fly here. And here we are a couple of months into the year, right? But thanks for those who are still starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Let me know where you're tuning in here from today. I am in Puerto Rico today, but I do reside in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, but today Puerto Rico, where it is nice and warm and sunny. For those of you who are used to mental health moment, you know that I love my sunshine. I really do. I'm happy to not be in some snowy climate this week. But shout outs to everyone who does. I know some people are like, I love the snow. So that's wonderful too. But someone said they are here from Texas is in the house, Seattle, Arkansas, San Diego. Welcome, and thanks so much for your support. This season is all stress. Oh no. Arlington, Texas is in the house, Boston, Massachusetts, LA, Houston, Zephyr Hills is here. The beautiful Bahamas is here. Wonderful, wonderful. Someone said, I'm so jealous about I think the person who is maybe in the Bahamas or so. But yes, warmer climates are a great thing, right? In Gainesville, Florida, definitely a Florida girl. Wonderful. Love her sunshine too. God bless from sunny Puerto Rico. Welcome. Atlanta, Georgia. Someone said they're in Puerto Rico on a cruise. That is so cool. Well, thanks for tuning in to Mental Health Moment, right? Thank goodness for the internet, right? We can literally be anywhere in the world and be listening and getting information. So I'm happy to be in this digital era that we have here. Texas is in the house, Connecticut. Welcome, welcome. So again, you all, this is the last Tuesday of the month, which is the last of this series. But of course, we will have other topics moving forward on Mental Health Moment. But today, as we wind down, if you will, this series on releasing. So we talked a lot this month. If you missed some of the episodes, it's all good. You can always go to my Facebook or my YouTube page, Dr. Nekeshiahm Hammond, and you are welcome to watch the replays. But again, when you think about, we talked about what do you need to release, right? So the first thing was identifying. So sort of to recap this month, identifying what do you need to release right now? Is it stress? Is it, someone said, I remember that episode we talked about toxic relationships, or is it some physically you just need to release some stress out of your body, or emotionally or mentally you need to just have like a mental health detox, right? And release those sort of things. So the first thing is understanding really examining within yourself, what do I need to release? And a lot of times it takes the quiet time, you all. It really does. I know we're busy. I know we're go on, no matter where you live in the world, it feels like we're just, everything's so rushed and in a hurry, and there's to-do lists and things you got to, be working on and all these sort of things. But it's really, really important too, that we take some still time, right? To be still and get the answers and clarity that we need to know what we need to release. And then we also talked about this month of different ways to release. So getting into whatever it is for you, if it's spending time in nature, if it's taking some deep breaths, right? Just utilizing your tools, your mental health tools and wellness tools. to really get through and release this distress, whatever distress you're experiencing. So someone said, Florida girls in the house. Awesome. Bermuda's here. Fort Worth, Texas is here. South Carolina. Someone said, Africa is here. Welcome. Virginia, Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome, welcome. And thanks again so much for joining here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So speaking of release, for example, I told you all I'm excited this week to be in Puerto Rico, where it is way warmer than where I was in the beginning of the year with I think it was like 2 degrees below zero or something ridiculous when I was in Michigan a couple months ago, and it was so cold and I don't like the snow. So I was like, man, I just wish that I could be on a beach somewhere, even though I live in Florida. And sure enough, here we are. Here I am in Puerto Rico. But today was so impactful for me because I try my best, you all, to practice what I preach to you all. I really do. I told you all, many of you may know my story, but years back, I really changed my life and made the commitment for self-care. And I didn't always do that, you all. I really didn't. I was horrible at it, frankly. But I really made that commitment because, and that's why I love sharing with you all each week after week. I'm just going to be sharing different tips for those of you who are new. Because when you really start to practice the self-care, you do become the best version of who you are, which impacts you, right? You show up for you and you show up for those around you. So today, even though it's been busy, hectic, whatnot, some of the work assignments that I'm doing here, I was like, you know what? I still need to practice my self-care, right? I need to take some downtime. So, so the place that I'm staying, they have yoga here. And so this evening, I did yoga with basically very close to the beach. They just started a new program and the times and whatnot, which coincided with my schedule, which was great. So it was like day one, and I was the only one in this class. And it was so beautiful because the yoga instructor was just a really beautiful spirit. Believes in spiritual growth and, you know, all these great things. So I was having some conversations with her, and I love that she was like, even though you're here right now to speak for work, I want your mind to be on vacation mode, frankly, because the first thing she said was, oh, you're here, and this beautiful place, we have this beautiful beach. And I'm like, no, actually, I'm here working. And she's like, no, you may be here working, but be in vacation mode, like your mind, meaning make sure you take the time for you, right? We even went after the yoga session. It was just her and I. It was amazing. And after that brief yoga session, we went out to the beach and just sat out there. You all know I like to spend a lot of time in nature, and so does this individual who was amazing. I just met her today. But we sat out at the beach, started to practice some affirmations, starting to work on deep breathing, right? And just paying attention to the waves. That's it. Nothing else mattered in that moment. And so I share that with you because I loved her philosophy. First of all, she's like, no, you're going to be in vacation mode. Like that was her theme, which was so cool. Because a lot of us sometimes, we're going through, and good evening for those who are still starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. We're talking again as we round out our series about releasing. And I was just sharing how today I was really work on releasing my stress with a yoga session. And it was sort of by the beach, by the pool area. And then we moved out and sat by the water, me and this yoga instructor. And again, I'm sharing this with you because it may not be a beach, right? Maybe you're not close to a beach. Maybe you're close to a river. Maybe you're close to a mountain. Maybe you're just want to take a walk, whatever it is. But when you really start to get still, when you really start to connect, and I love this lady so much because she talked a lot about alignment, which is something that resonates very strongly with me. It may be something that resonates strongly with you, whatever your beliefs are, if you are on a path for spiritual growth as well as mental and emotional growth, right? But nonetheless, it's so important again. And I know we shared this earlier this month, but I wanted to reiterate how important it is to really think about being still if we're going to release things. release things, right? And of course, she doesn't know I'm hosting Mental Health Moment tonight and talking all about releasing our stress and releasing our tensions this month. Of course, she didn't know all that. But her theme today, too, was not only to think about vacation mode, how do you take care of yourself, but also, what do you like? She was just even like, okay, what do you need to release, right? What stress, what tensions? And that's the same thing, again, that I want to remind each and every one of you. You have to be asking yourself that question often, right? And more importantly, what I want you to remember out of this mental health moment tonight is that you are worthy. Because a lot of times, well, when it comes to growth, especially mental health, uh, some of us have, all of us actually have a lot of mental blocks to that. Maybe it was something that happened in your childhood. Maybe it was something that happened in your adult life. Maybe it was something that happened yesterday. Things happen to us. We sort of cling to these not true notions about ourselves. And because of that, we start to develop these sort of mental blocks. And what the mental blocks do is prevent us from engaging in self-care. Because then you start to say, well, it's, you know, somehow, some way we distort things. We say, maybe we deserve to be punished, or maybe we deserve to be stressed, or maybe we deserve these hard things, or maybe if we go through this, it'll make us stronger. Like all these things that are not necessarily true. You are worthy and you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be emotionally healthy. You deserve to take the self-care time that you need. All these things that society often tells you you can't do, you shouldn't do, you don't have enough time to do, you don't have enough money to do, all those things that are literally not true. And those are things that we tell ourselves over and over again that actually block us from being the best versions of who we are. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. Uh, Someone said they're here from the Poconos. That's amazing. Lovely, lovely. Nashville's in the house as well. Someone said they're having work stress and receiving a lot of pushback. Work stress is a real thing, you all, which is why, again, it's so important, whether it's work stress, whether it's relationship, whether it's whatever it is you're personally going through or someone that you know is going through. Sometimes people in our lives are going through things and that impacts us so much, or things we hear on the news, things we hear in social media, it can really impact us so much. And we actually have to release that as well. So right now you may be like, Dr. Hammond, I'm good, things are great, but my fill in the blank, right? My family member, my coworker, my neighbor, my whomever else is really going through something difficult and it's starting to affect me, which first of all just means that you have a really good heart and there's nothing wrong with that. However, you have to still make sure that you remain as emotionally healthy as possible, because again, you're showing up for yourself and you're showing up for that person in your life, the best version of who you are, right? So we have to make sure that we're releasing this stress, that we're releasing this tension. Is it magically all going to go away? No, I wish it was that simple. No, of course not. It comes back, right? Life happens to us. But as much as we can think about how to just as how, again, we always think about the detox. We always think about flushing out toxins and drinking extra water and doing all these things to our body, which is important too, but we have to do that with our mind as well. What can you flush out? Right? What can you, if you had like a water cleanse, there's all these water cleanses out now. I feel like, drink a lot of water and flush out all the toxins, right? What's going to happen if you eat something bad? You're going to have more toxins in your body, right? It comes back. It's the same way with our minds. So however, you're going to work on releasing, you're going to work on flushing out the negative thoughts. You're going to work on flushing out all the anxiety. You're going to work on flushing out all the things that are negatively impacting you. However, knowing, right, life is going to happen. There are going to be disruptions. There's going to be disappointments. There was going to be really amazing, great news that also causes stress for you, right? That happens. But when that happens again, you can work on the same thing. How do you release, right? How do you get back? Because today, as I mentioned before, it was amazing, frankly, to be doing yoga. I haven't done yoga in a while. I did yoga for over a decade religiously, and then COVID happened, and I stopped going to some of the yoga studios, just obviously because of COVID, things were shut down, and so I hadn't done it in a while. And nonetheless, today was just a beautiful experience. The yoga instructor was so amazing. Just just one of those people where you're like, man, you're such a beautiful soul. She was so inspiring and it was so beautiful. And like I said, it was just the two of us. So it was pretty cool. A pretty cool session. But again, just having the opportunity just to release some stress. And for that yoga session, I'm not saying you have to do yoga, but for example, that yoga session, I was working on releasing not only physical stress, right, in my body, but also mental stress, emotional stress, just releasing things that I was holding on to, right? So again, it doesn't have to be yoga, of course, but whatever your practice is, I want you to know today that you're worthy of it. You're worthy of being well. You're worthy of being the best version of who you are. And thanks for those who are still starting to join here. Yep, a lot of people are saying, some people are saying family stress they're experiencing, work stress is in the comments. Also, someone says stress in general, that works too. It's all good. It is all a part of life. I know it's hard, depending on what level of stress you're dealing with, depending on what season of your life that you're dealing with. However, once you start to get into a true practice of letting go, releasing, how can I be better? How can I become a better version of myself and really stay in that mode? It can make a lot of things that you're experiencing less harsh towards you. I wouldn't say easy because some things are just not easy. And then I always tell you all, I know there's a stigma of mental health. I totally get it, but I highly suggest to you, if you're like Dr. Hammond, I have tried so many things at home. I have tried so many things with friends or with family or my support system, and it's too hard. Like, it's hard for me to release whatever it is, whether it's trauma, whether it's something recently that happened to you, or something that happened to you long ago, or something you didn't want to happen, or whatever it is. Then again, I really want you to consider, do you need to see a mental health professional? And if you do, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you're a strong person who says, you know what, let me just get an expert, right, in the field to just help me through this, right? When people think about mental health, when people think about therapy, you all I hear sometimes is this extreme belief that, like, oh my God, if I start therapy, I'm gonna have to do therapy for the rest of my life, which is pretty extreme. The majority of people are not in therapy for the rest of their lives, right? That's not it. So I don't know how long it'll take, right? Because everyone is different. It might be a couple weeks, might be a couple months, it might be a couple years. I don't know how long therapy would last because it really depends on the individual. But I can tell you that the vast majority of people are not in therapy for their entire lives, right? There's just seasons of time where you might need a mental health professional to help you with that release. If you've tried things on your own or with family members, friends, and it's not enough, right? You're like, man, I really need that extra step, which is perfectly fine, right? Someone said, they're the DMV area. Welcome, welcome. Someone said, one of my coworkers is going through so much. My goodness. Right. And again, as I was sharing before, whether it's whoever that's close to you, or maybe they're not even close to you, and they may be going through a lot, that sometimes impacts you too. So you have to work on releasing that and not taking so much of it on that you can't function as a person, right? It's very important that you work on you, be there for that person as much as you can, be supportive, but also take care of yourself in the process as well. I love how you all are sharing in the comments your how what the temperature is like in different parts of where you all live. I just think that's so funny. I see it's 56 degrees or it's 70 something degrees and different things where you live. But all good, all good. But again, as we wrap up this month here, I want you to absolutely remember that you deserve the release of whatever it is for you in this season, in this month, that you need to release, right? What you need to release a year from now might be completely different, and that's okay. What you need to release next month might be completely different, right? So that's why, again, make it a practice for you to think about, what do I need to release in this moment? If you're not sure, then that really means you have to spend some quiet time with yourself. And if you do know, but you're like, man, this is really, really difficult, then again, reach out to a mental health professional, right? Maybe you have a friend or family member who is already going to a mental health professional that they can, refer you to a group practice, let's say, or maybe you can go to your physician and they can give you some names. You can try the American Psychological Association if you're in the US. There's a lot of different resources that you can link with to reach out to a mental health professional if that's something you need. But very important, the most important thing is that you're taking care of yourself. Uh, Someone said, take a deep breath. I'm here from Florida. It's my first time here. Welcome. I love first timers. Welcome, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. If this is your very first time, welcome, welcome. Someone said, yep. Someone said, it's okay to take a mental health day. Yes. Highly recommend that, you all. I do that often. Do I have a exact set day and time throughout the year where I carve in like on my calendar? No, I don't. Actually, what I do is when I know when I need a mental health day. So you have to ask yourself, it might not even be a whole day, maybe in a mental health hour, it might be a mental health half day, or however, mental health couple of hours, whatever you need. You know yourself best, right? When you're like, man, I need to take some time for me. I need to take a break. Take a break as much as you can. I understand. Obviously, sometimes it's not feasible. You might be like, Dr. Hammond, I can't take a mental health day right now because I have too much going on. Totally understandable. However, take the time, the amount of time that you need, which again might be a couple hours, might be an hour, might be a minute. Right? We talked about taking a minute, but take the time that you need. Very, very important. Someone else said, becoming an empty nester is starting to stress me out. Yeah. So some of you all, as you were mentioning, really going through different transitions. That's stressful. That's very stressful. So whether you're bringing a new child into the house, whether you're an empty nester and a child is leaving the house, whether you're moving, whether you have a new job, maybe you lost a job, or there's all these transitions that we're going through. There's a ton of transitions that happened during COVID, obviously, right? So, and some of us are still dealing with that. So it absolutely can be stressful, which is why, though, recognizing that, what is maybe for you, it's the top 3 things for you to list out for yourself. If you could think about in this moment, what are the top 3 things that are really stressing me out? And then how can I release that? Okay. And it doesn't mean that you release all the feelings associated with that. Okay. You are allowed to have feelings. You're an emotional person, we're all emotional human beings, right? We have emotions. However, though, release the part that does not serve you, right? Release, if it's anger, does not serve you. If it's resentment, it does not serve you, right? So what is it for you that you need to release that does not serve you, right? That's not helping you physically and emotionally and mentally and spiritually. What is that for you? That's what you need to work on releasing, right? Someone said, don't isolate yourself. Very true. Very, very important. For those of you who are in that boat, who are like, man, I just want to shut out the whole entire world. I don't want to be around anybody. Try your best to find one person, just one person who you can connect with at a minimum. One person. Because it's when you're in a dark place sometimes and you start to get into isolation, you don't want to communicate with anyone whatsoever. It doesn't help when you're in a dark space. It doesn't help your thoughts. It doesn't help with depression. It doesn't help with anxiety. However, it doesn't have to be everybody, but if you can connect with at least one healthy person for you through that time, that could be something that can really help you through. So good point. Someone said, take a deep breath. Love that. Yes, absolutely. Someone said, currently it's a great relationship. Wonderful, wonderful. It's funny. I'm reading the comments here and someone said, so this is very interesting. I'm glad that you brought that up. Actually, someone mentioned, as I just said in the comments, about how stressful it was to be an empty nester. And someone else said, empty nester, enjoy your freedom. So what's so fascinating about that is it's all about perspective, you all. We talked a couple mental health moments ago about perspective, right? And about our views and about our perspective on things and how powerful that is. And it's just so funny that you mentioned that, because again, what stresses us out, what may stress you out, to the next person, they're like, man, I wish I had your life. So it's so important, again, when we think about releasing, to also recognize how how grateful you can be for some of the things that, again, there's some things you may be stressing about that other people are like, man, I wish I had that problem, right? We're just all at different stages and seasons of our lives. So trying to keep that in mind too. Perspective, very powerful. Let's see here. Yep. Someone said you don't have to react to every situation. Absolutely. And it's hard. It's hard, right? We are emotional beings. We have emotions. We have feelings. You're allowed to feel that, right? We don't have to release all our feelings whatsoever about situations. We're not robots. We're allowed to have those emotions. But again, when you think about what can I release that does not serve me in the best way to be the best version of who I am, that's going to be what's most important. Yep. Someone said, first time watching this. Do you hold these often? Yes. For those of you who are brand new, and accidentally maybe tuned in. Well, nothing's by accident, right? Everything has a purpose. But I'm here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, or LinkedIn Live. Or if you miss an episode, you can always go to my YouTube page, Dr. Nekeshia Hammond, and watch all the replays on there. But yes, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., we are here live. Someone said, this is amazing, and a sign. I was just clicking on Facebook and this live cast came on. I've been isolating myself and I guess I needed to see this. Yes, you are definitely in the right place. I definitely don't believe anything happens by chance. Not at all. So yes, you're definitely in the right place. And yes, for that person who did say, isolating yourself and that sort of thing, it is. I would highly suggest to think about who is one person that you can connect with. So you could work on getting out of that isolation, and work on whatever it is that you need to work on. And again, you all, for some of you, you may be like, Dr. Hammond, I have no one. I don't have any friends. I don't have any significant other. I don't have any close family. Like, I feel all alone. Well, sometimes there's so many great support systems, even online, right? That you may meet people online in different support forums, reputable support forums online, or it might be time to see a therapist then, right? But I definitely believe there's some person, at least one person out there that you can connect with. Yep. Someone said crying is a great release. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're allowed to have emotions, you all. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to release in that way as well. Absolutely. Someone said I'm at a dark time right now. So again, we all have different seasons. It does not rain forever. We all know that it doesn't rain forever. It feels like it though. When you're in that dark hour, it feels like it's going to rain forever, but it doesn't rain forever. But again, if for those of you who are just like, man, I'm really in a struggle right now, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is, again, I want you to think about what makes sense for you in this moment to release. For you, maybe something you need to let go of. And again, if you need a mental health professional, be sure to reach out. Someone said they're sending you love and light. I love that. Protect your peace. Yes. Let me see here. Someone said, someone said they started a job a while back and they took some days off and decided to take a mental health day. And then when they came back, they were more refreshed when they returned from that mental health day. Very important, you all. Like I said, I take them myself as well when I know I'm like, okay, either I have a lot of things coming up on my plate, or quite the opposite. I already had a lot of things that are on my plate and I know I just need to reset and recharge. I take those mental health days. I absolutely do. Very important to reset ourselves, to reset, recharge. So thank you so much for sharing that day. Someone said getting outdoors helps to release the stress. Absolutely. And thank you all for sharing again in the comments, just maybe some things that you're going through right now, some ways that you're trying to help to release the stress, right? And again, the goal is not just for things to magically disappear as far as emotions. That's highly unrealistic, frankly. There's a lot of things that take a long time to process. There's some things that you may go through that, you're like, man, by the next day I'm good, right? The one dayers. And then there's some things that take a week. There's some things that take months, and there's some things that take a lifetime to kind of cope with and process. So I totally recognize that. But again, I want to encourage you today to think about, as we wrap up this series here, to think about what you need to release. When you think of the mental health detox, as we talk about, when we think about flushing some things out of our system mentally, flushing some things out of our system, and yes, knowing sometimes it comes back, and that's okay. You might be good for a couple of months. You're like, man, I'm on a good path, and then something else happens, or something we weren't necessarily all the way healed from, it pops back up. Like that happens, right? You are human. That happens, right? But do the best that you can, again, to take care of yourself. So again, for all the newbies today, welcome again. Thanks so much for joining here. I will be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page, YouTube, and LinkedIn Live. Be blessed. Have an amazing week. And I'll see you back here. If you need any mental health resources whatsoever, any questions you have, you can always reach out on any of my social media platforms, and I'll be sure to do my best to direct you to the appropriate resources and referrals. dr.nekeshiahm.com is also the website if you, again, need any information. But thank you. Blessings to you as well. Thanks so much for joining here today, and I'll see you all next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have an amazing week, you all. Bye, y'all.